And
Mhm.
I just passed him apparently in engagement. So it's wild.
That in my notes here. So you passed Mark Levin. Has he reached out to you to find out what your secret is?
No, he represents a dying part of the Republican Party, which is one rooted in values over the last 40 or 50 years. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, what conservatives have to understand is that conservatism failed and it's a dying brand. And they had their chance this time to rule as conservatives, and they aren't really doing anything. And the youth are so upset and incensed at the status quo that they're probably going to vote for Democratic Socialists now, because they really just want a strong man to wreck a system that they think is broken. And increasingly, you're going to see more and more people in the boomer generation kind of like die off. I hate to be, blunt, but that's what's going to happen over the next 5 to 15 years.
I
And
hope as a boomer, I hope I get more than 5 to 15 years.
are
I
you
am in that
really a
category.
boomer? You
Yes,
must be really close to Gen X.
I was born in March of 1964. It's 48 to 64 is the boomer generation.
Oh, that's like 1 year to the boundary, isn't it?
Yep. Yep. 64 is it. I'm in a unique circumstance down here. My mom was very young when she had me. My mom and I are both boomers. She was born in 48, and I was born in 64.
Well, I'm here to grant you your honorary Gen X award. You act more like a nomad than you do a boomer. And I'm technically by 234 days, I'm a Gen X as well. So you're in my generation.
Okay.
But I act like a millennial, so I consider myself a zennial or millennial. So
All right. So we've got the Republicans out there, and I have posited this and tried to give them, tried to give them some, I don't know, culture shock, shake them to the core, have them recognize what's going on. But I honestly think they don't care. I've never seen a party so determined to regain the minority. It's almost as if they're actually working toward it.
yeah, I think that's reasonable to ask. And it's something that I've been asking a lot on Twitter. I don't think they want to rule, and I think a lot of it is the party is captured by special interests and big corporations. Citizen United and just the way everybody's located down in DC, and they listen to interests and not the voters. And I think this is the time, though, that the voters are going to know it, because there were a lot of people who gave Donald Trump full-throated support and pledged to, go after his agenda. And now it's like they forgot even what his agenda was. And just the discussions today, it's like Trump comes out this week and kind of defends H-1B with like what is really like billionaire propaganda, when everybody who works in industry knows that it's a complete scam. Everybody and the entire internet knows it's a complete scam. And so now I hear Republican lawmakers saying, "Oh, wait, everybody's mad at us." It's like, yeah, you don't know your voters. And they're like, "Well, now we should have a conversation about H-1Bs." And the way I react to that is, well, I've polled on it a lot and nobody's looked at my polls. And I don't even need to poll because the internet already determined that they hated it. And we're talking about like every politician's accounts getting ratioed all over Twitter. Ramaswamy's like probably got no future in national politics because of one tweet he made about H-1B. So I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's looking around and saying like Republicans, 2028, I mean, JD Vance is a good candidate compared to everybody else on the field. And I think he might lose now because I don't think, hey, 2028, this time we mean it, is not a good campaign slogan. It's not going to work.
Yeah. So what are the polls telling us out there? You talked about, the internet's kind of telling us what's going on, and God bless Elon Musk with X, because we have access to this information. You can do a search and see what's going on. I was fortunate enough, being a boomer, to actually have been taught civics. So I recognized when my elected representatives are or are not doing something, and asking why. What are the polls telling us out there? As far as age demographics, who's supportive of things? What's it looking like right now?
So everybody thinks that the Democrat Party has a low favorability. And it really, when you look at a real pollster like me and Rich, no, they are a couple points worse than Republicans, but people hate Republicans too. And those numbers are going to be actually pretty steady. Like they're not going to change much. One of the things I think that predicted the Republican underperformance is that Donald Trump's approval crashed a few points right at the end of the shutdown. It didn't drop at the beginning. It dropped at the end when everybody realized, wait, the Republicans don't have a plan. And he's underwater 9 points net approval, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that terrible. He's got a 45% approval rating. That might come back up if he fixes his message. I don't think it's actually critical for his approval rating. The problem is that if the Democrats get back in control of Congress and the Senate next year, it's going to be a bloodbath of investigations and impeachments and stuff like that. And right now, they're leading in the generic ballot polling. That's the question that says, hey, if you voted tomorrow, would it be for a Republican or for a Democrat? It's not super predictive, but it's pretty, good. And the Democrats are winning in the Real Clear Politics aggregate by like 5 points right now. And I think the numbers are going to get worse. Rich has some data back that he says is pretty bad. And the only chance the Republicans had prior to that was to somehow redistrict their way into relevance. And that looks like it's not going to work either. So they have about 355 days now to seriously do something, not talk about something. That's not going to work anymore. And I just laid out on War Room like a pretty clear plan. It needs to be like, unfortunately, what America needs is the government to be brutally reformed and for the economic system to be reordered. And I hate to be histrionic, but the music is stopping, and that's where we're at. And there's going to be uprisings if they don't fix it. That it's either going to be a Democrat socialist ruling majority, or there's going to be brutal economic and government reform. And I think people expected that that's what Trump would do. And when he came out of the gate, he kind of started to deliver that, and everybody loved it, especially the young people. The young people were head over heels about Doge. They gave Donald Trump a 60% approval rating. I came on news. I was screaming at people, look, you just caught the hearts and the minds of the young people. And what did Republicans do? They got rid of Doge. So I don't know what to tell you. They are still ruling with the politics of the last 30 or 40 years. And times are changing. Like, we could play that song. I don't know if that'll help. We could play that song. There's a whole verse about Republicans and Democrats, about politicians standing in the way. There's a whole verse about it. It was written by your generation, I think. I don't know.
Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
Well, Mark, can you hold on through the break? I want to talk some more about this and tell you some things that are going on in Mississippi and see if that is reflective of what you're seeing out there in the polls. This is Chris Hinkle. I am in for Andrew Gasser at WYAB. We're also streaming live on X, YouTube, and I believe we may be streaming on Rumble. I did set that up this morning. We'll see if that works. We will be back right after this obscene profit timeout.
We muted.
WYAB.
Antique Mall of the South has 14,000 square feet of pristine, clean floor space, home to beautiful, timeless antique treasures. Antique Mall of the South is open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. Check them out online at antiquemallofthesouth.com or go to the Antique Mall of the South Facebook page. You can also read the dozens of 5-star reviews on for yourself at Antique Mall of the South in Ridgeland. Now open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. That's Antique Mall of the South, Highway 51 in Ridgeland.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
Getting a new prescription filled in your eyeglasses may not get rid of your headaches. It may not be the prescription at all. If your eyeglasses are not custom fit and properly adjusted to you, that could be the source of your headaches. At Eye Gear Optical, we verify the prescription in your lenses and the custom fitting of your frames to ensure you have the most comfortable and visually accurate eyeglasses every time. We fit eyeglasses to you, your lifestyle, and your budget. Eye Gear Optical, 2630 Highway 80 East in Pearl and eyegearoptical.com.
Hi, this is Lee Atkins of Home Care Plus in Ridgeland. We are a proud carrier of Abena Premium Incontinence products. Abena has the most absorbency available, making changes and leaks less likely. After 7 years as a seller, I can tell you these products are amazing and worth every penny to quality of life for patient and caregiver. And we ship all incontinence products as well. So please come see us at Home Care Plus in Ridgeland for all the incontinence needs of you or your family member. That's Home Care Plus in Ridgeland.
your own business.
Mind my own business? What's that supposed to mean?
No, thinking about all of the news of tax changes, insurance changes, regulations that are being passed down to business owners. I don't have the time to keep growing and to keep up with changing payroll regulations.
I know. It seems like all I do is handle employee-related problems.
You know, I hear People Lease can help.
How can they help?
People Lease can handle our payroll, taxes, employee benefits, and workers' compensation. They even offer an affordable and customizable 401k program and a 24/7 online human resources support center for all my HR needs.
Think of all the time we'll save letting People Lease handle our payroll and benefits administration. I'll be busy growing my business and letting People Lease take care of the rest.
Sounds like a good business plan with People Lease.
Let People Lease mind your business so you can mind your own business. Call now 601-987-3025. That's 601-987-3025. Or visit freepayrollquotes.com for your free quote.
Have you been injured through no fault of your own? Do you know your rights? Don Evans does. Do you really believe that the insurance company would disclose all information to you? Don Evans will make sure that you are fully informed. It costs nothing to discuss your case. From car wrecks to malpractice, Don Evans will make you and your family whole again. Don Evans won't ever charge unless he collects for you. Call Don for a free, no-obligation consultation at 601-969-2006.
When it comes to protecting what matters most, experience counts. And the Rusty Healy Agency has been serving Madison and the rest of the Jackson Metro for over 35 years. Local agent Landon Thompson is keeping that trusted tradition going strong. As a local independent agent, he's not locked into one provider. The Rusty Healy Agency can shop the top insurance companies to find the best fit for you. And everyone knows that the Rusty Healy Agency and Landon Thompson offer top quality local customer service. Contact Landon today at 601-856-3681.
All right, we are back on the Andrew Gasser Show. I am Chris Hinkle, your blunt force conservative, and I am here with my good friend Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen Reports, and we were talking about how the Republicans are making every effort, working tirelessly to regain the minority. I had our good friend Gary Heasley on with me on Tuesday, and I asked him this question, and maybe your polling can tell, or maybe some of your graphics. President Trump came in with a mandate from the American people. We sent that mandate to Washington, D.C. He has been very successful at a number of his executive orders, the border, DEI, the things that he's doing. Can you tell me, based on all of your graphics, your knowledge, your expertise, your access to all of this data, exactly how many of those executive orders have been codified into law by the Republicans who have the majority in the House and the Senate?
Just riffing off the top of my head, I think it's probably like 30-ish out of 100, getting close to 200 now. But I mean, looking at just legislatively, there's been 4 or 5 actual laws. There's a bunch of little things that got through, but we had the one big beautiful bill. Problem with that is they didn't get any public opinion credit for it at all. It didn't move the numbers. And why is that? Well, it just looks like normal DC slop, and people are sick of DC slop. Going into the election, people said they wanted massive change in DC instead of business as usual, 75% to 20%. The Republican Party is just giving them business as usual. And they know this. The leaders know this. There's a speech November 12th, 2024, where Mike Johnson was in Congress and said he's going to hang a MAGA banner from the ceiling. He's going to, people gave the Republican Party a mandate and he's going to deliver. And it's like, okay, well, where is it? And I think the politics has changed just in the last 10 years. I mean, we've had 10 years of people growing up into a hollowed out economy. So there's millions and millions of people more who are looking around and saying, my society is broken. All of the, effects of depolicing, the effects of violent crime and drugs, all the jobs being sent overseas. And the Republicans were pretty complicit in a lot of that stuff, to be honest with you. They talk a big game about values, but they kind of fiddled while Rome burned. And you look back when Trump got in, it was just a totally indifferent context. He was such an outsider. People didn't know how to deal with it. And then the internet helped normalize his views in a way that woke a lot of people up. And so they were watching him, a lot of them, saying, well, what's he going to do? And then they were surprised when he did stuff. It was like, oh, for the first time, somebody's doing stuff. I don't know if you remember, but back in 2016, a lot of people were passing around lists of Trump accomplishments. They're like, look at this list. It keeps growing. Look at all these things he's done. Well, now it's like 2016, Trump won because his cult of personality was a better option than business as usual Hillary Clinton, right?
Mhm.
This time, his mandate was more of like a cult of existential need. They're like, we need this guy. I don't like him that much, but we saw what happens with Democrat statists. That was Trump's coalition, and it had a lot of independents and Democrats in it, and they're getting nothing. And but like the Trump administration is not even trying. We're not even seeing them take credit for wins. And in fact, when Trump comes out in messages, he counter messages his own movement. So I have people DMing me like, I've been a Trump supporter for 10 years and I just burned my last MAGA hat. And it's bleak when he doesn't understand his own movement. And apparently what has happened is that one of the reasons he's been successful in the past is that he listens to folks who are tapped in. He listened to Barron about how to get on podcasts. He listened to Charlie Kirk about how to appeal to the youth vote. Well, Charlie Kirk shot and Barron Trump is at college. And so I guess we're going to die in a communist ditch. And so I've been screaming, why is it me who has to tell the administration that, again, Vivek Ramaswamy got roasted by 160 million people on Twitter, and they're insanely mad at H-1Bs, and then Trump comes out and defends it a year later. That is just unforced errors level of complete, I mean, negligence. It's criminal negligence. I don't know what else to say. And so there needs to be a gut check and a plan forward. This is like confronting a junkie with an intervention and helping them take the next steps. We need a 12-step program to win next fall. And I think the message is getting through. I hope. And the Republican Party, this is it. Like, this is their last chance.
There are some gatekeepers in the White House. Off air, I will give you my ideas of a couple of people, and I'll bring receipts of some things that they're doing that I think are not in the best interest of Trump or the country. I think these individuals that I'll identify to you off air, people think there's a lot of people in MAGA that think highly of them. As I've gotten more involved into seeing what's going on behind the scenes and having conversations with some people behind the scenes, I'm seeing like, well, wait a minute, why this is not a good decision. They're like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. We're going to take this drastic action and inflict this pain right now, even though much later on down the road, we're going to have, we're probably going to lose on this. And I'll give you an example that's closer to me. Stephen Jensen, Matt Driscoll, and Spencer Evans were fired from the FBI. And people can go out there and take a look, and they might be able to figure out who I'm talking about if they read their complaint. But those individuals, when I read through the complaint, having gone through 33 years of government service, 25 as a federal agent, over 20 with the FBI, I know the processes and I know what the law says and I know what policy says. All of those things got violated with firing those guys. And they were being pressured to fire some other people that had legal recourse because they were veterans. They had veterans preference. But the attitude coming from these individuals is, I don't care. People want people fired from the FBI. We're just going to go out and start firing some people. And 3-4 years from now, people get their jobs back and get a whole bunch of money, taxpayer money, to come back in. We'll be gone by then. We'll be out in the private sector and stuff.
So, like, using that as a paradigm for institutional reform, like, kind of the way I see it is, two things can be true at once. There can be good people working at the FBI, and the FBI can be completely and hopelessly corrupt. And we've seen very few instances of complete cultural capture being reversed. And I've kind of done this, like I did it in my team at Walmart, changed the culture and realigned it in a healthy direction. And I was able to do it without firing very many people, but it was a lot of hard, grueling work, and it was a messy situation. The person I think that did it most successfully in a model that could be applied is the way Elon Musk cleaned up Twitter into X. And unfortunately, he had to fire 80% of the company to get rid of all the activists and scumbags. And a lot of good people got fired too. And then he hired some back. You know what I mean? But what everybody saw was a very outwardly visible sign that it is a fork in the road. And there has been no fork in the road for any of these things. The IRS, like all these organizations, we still have a CIA that 41% of America thinks killed Kennedy. And it's like we were supposed to get files, but when you do that kind of thing, when it's like accountability through transparency, you're just validating in people's minds that, oh yeah, it is as bad as I thought. Oh yeah, the CIA did kill Kennedy. You don't actually fix the fact that we have a federal agency that may have killed a sitting president. And so you can't undo it. But how do you fix it? The leader needs to have a very visible process of reform. Here's what's wrong with the FBI. Here's my 3-step plan to fix it. Plan 1 is a purge. Plan 2 is like whatever. I don't know what it is, but they didn't do anything. Like that's a problem. And so the only thing people see is like, here's 3 names that got the axe. And then the world's just going to bicker about whether those are the right 3 people or not. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened.
And something that people aren't seeing out there. I know a lot of people, they were like, okay, if we can't just outright fire them, we're going to encourage them to leave. We're going to offer them incentive packages. They can retire in June and not actually leave until September on the books. So they'll continue to make money. I just had a friend of mine retire from the FBI in July, and less than 3 weeks later, he gets a letter. Hey, would you consider coming back? And we will let you come back and you'll get to keep your forever check, your retirement and your pension, and you will draw between $150,000 and $200,000 as an FBI agent. So now we're going to pay that person double, almost double what we were paying them before. It's just not a way to do it. There are ways to do it. And I'm going to talk about that in the second hour. I've got some tough love for Kash Patel. Let me take another break. When we come back, I want to talk more about the H-1B visa stuff. Statement. I pulled up your page. There's some J6 stuff on there, and a big phrase that you put out there: "Our schools suck." That was your kind of one-line thing that I saw. You might have to go search that posting on there.
Oh, I was fighting people who said schools suck, but we can talk about that.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too. So this is Chris Hinkle. I'm in for Andrew Gasser on the Andrew Gasser Show here at WYAB. We're here with Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen Reports, and we're looking forward to another segment coming up right after this obscene profit timeout.
Fox News commentary with Craig Gutfeld. Next.
When I started skiing, I didn't think about setting any records. When I won my first race, I didn't think about how many more I might win. So when I made it to the top of the world, it never crossed my mind to stop. Being the best isn't the same as being your best. There are no shortcuts to the top, so find the people who help get you there. I'm Michaela Schifrin, and that's what Teen Stiefel means to me. If you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stiefel, where success meets success.
Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE. Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Here's Greg Gutfeld.
Now that the shutdown ends, the same dopes that pinned it on Trump are now blaming the Dems for ending it. They claim compassion for those suffering, but were secretly behind it. As the Dems plot politically, Trump's promising to send a $2,000 tariff dividend to non-wealthy Americans, which he's doing without raising billions in taxes or printing billions of dollars, unlike the COVID checks, which did spike inflation. And so as the Dem rely on procedural confusion to shovel cash to insurance companies, Trump sends money directly to you. Trump didn't budge. How is this so surprising? It's what he does on everything. It's funny how the Dems have Trump on their brains all the time, yet are continually shocked when he does what he does. But we see it coming because for us, clarity works. It was, here's the budget, sign on the dotted line, pretty simple. Apparently too simple for a party that still struggles to define what a woman is.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
If you had an accident and had your vehicle repaired at the insurance company preferred shop, you might consider calling Clinton Body Shop to schedule a post-repair inspection. 5 of the last 6 cars we inspected were bought back by the insurer or repair shop due to unsafe repairs. Your family's safety and your investment are at risk. You may have a diminished value claim due to repairs. Did your insurance company mention that? In Clinton and in Richland, we work for you. We take pride in perfection.
I'm speaking with Lee Bounds of Rapid Rate Mortgage. Why is Rita Jensen the type of real estate professional you are looking for?
As a mortgage professional, I look for making transactions easier, and Rita Jensen with Remax Connection is a prime example of that. Her attention to detail, her strong communication skills really help us as a mortgage company make everything smooth from start contract to close. She helps me.
RitaJensen.net. Here's a word from John White, the owner of Two Gun Tactical in Flowood and Ridgeland.
I carry a gun every day, all the time. Last year in America, 2 million legal guns were pulled, and it stopped the threat. So I'm really wearing a firearm just to stop the threat. There's more likelihood of me just pulling it and not using it than there is using it. TwoGunTactical.com, TwoGunTactical.com.
Two Gun Tactical, the South's only gun treat club.
Did you get us switched over to shelter insurance?
Actually, I found a deal online.
You did? Does your deal come with award-winning customer service?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Does the deal include a local agent?
Doesn't actually say.
Can we create a customized plan that fits our needs? Let's just call the local shelter agent.
For insurance that fits just right, find a shelter agent near you.
Located in Ridgeland and Flora, come see me, Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance.
Pops Auto Sales on Highway 49 in Florence is where you come to buy quality cars, trucks, and SUVs. Priced to fit your budget. At Pops Auto, we specialize in trucks. From four-wheel drives to diesels, our satisfied repeat buyers know Pops has one of the largest truck inventories for any independent dealer, period. Browse Pops inventory at popsautosalesllc.com and get pre-approved for a zero down payment with approved credit, with warranties and service contracts available. Pops Auto Sales, your home for trucks. Highway 49 South in Florence.
All right, we are back here on the Andrew Gasser Show, and I am Chris Hinkle, your blunt force conservative. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. I just checked, maybe streaming on Rumble. I haven't quite figured that one out yet. I may have to get some tips from Mark on how to do that stuff. He's given me some tips on how to set up my home studio. I'd never heard I didn't know what a hair light was. Do you use a hair light?
No, I got these 2 new soft lights, so I got rid of the hair light, and it's just trying to help light up my green screen. Man, I made you an honorary nomad, and now you're talking like a boomer about the technology stuff. Like, you're pretty good. You are on Twitter. You're definitely an expert.
You know, you never would have known that I was on the National Computer Crime Squad when I entered the FBI, and that I was a certified field forensic computer examiner when I was an OSI agent. So I used to be able to analyze those computers. But man, this stuff has gotten so beyond me. So we were talking when we went to the break. Were you tongue in cheek defending the education system when you said our schools suck, or what's your point there?
Really, what I've been raging against is propaganda. And it's really weird that Trump comes out and takes the billionaire point of view, which is that we don't have enough talented people here and the corporations really need this. And that's just not the truth at all. And I can talk about that. But then it was weird that all of these people who previously were like Ron DeSantis paid shills, like Bill Mitchell, came out and said, well, our schools suck, so obviously we need H-1Bs. And it's like, okay, well, like, let's have this conversation with nuance. Are our schools full of feminized woke crap and multiculturalism, and have they given up on civics and taken God out of the school? Like, yes, that's correct. But also we're Americans and it's our school system. So like, let's be careful there when you say suck, because H-1Bs are really the key reason we're here. I know illegal immigration is bad, and I think it's bad because mostly the crime and drugs. But if you look at the economic damage, it's really legal immigration and H-1Bs, because the 2.6 million temporary workers, for instance, if they just went back, our house price would correct, our house price market, and $350 billion worth of salaries would be transferred onto workers under 40, essentially. And also all the strain would be off of our healthcare system, and like it would be really cool. It would actually be super deflationary too, which would help us in many ways and probably bring down prices for stuff. So this one thing alone could really just fix America. And, Trump's out there talking about how, well, the South Korean people setting up the battery plant. Well, he glosses over the fact that everybody working in that battery plant was either a legal or illegal immigrant, and that they didn't come after Hyundai for employing illegals at all, which I don't know why they didn't do that. Could have gotten $1 billion fine and helped with the treasury. But then it's this whole thing. It's like, okay, Trump, you just defended a program with an edge case, and everybody knows who works in technology that it's complete manipulation. They use the H-1B to lower the average age of employees so they can pay less for healthcare. So it's ageism. They replace older workers with the H-1Bs, and they can pay them less, and they can treat these people harsher. And it's gotten to the point where it's taken over major portions of every one of the Fortune 500s. I worked at Walmart, and now over 60% of Walmart's technology is all foreign-born Indian nationals. So we've given away the best jobs and essentially control over our countries to a member of a competing currency bloc. Like, we're actually in a proxy war with 2 out of those people, and then the third we've completely handed our technology to. So and everybody knows it's terrible and retarded. And so it's like, looking at the schools, yes, they're bad, but every one of these jobs has 100, 500 resumes, whatever. Everybody thinks that these people are really trying to like go out there and find a nuclear missile engineer, and they can't find the right person. It's like, no, that job has 100 resumes, and the people are begging to pick the H-1B. And if they can't, then they will pick a domestic born worker, and that money will be in our economy instead of remitted overseas. So all of DC has no idea what the real world, like, this is the biggest problem, Chris, I think, is that we are at peak disconnect between DC and rest of America.
Oh, well, I can tell you, having lived up there, there is a huge disconnect. I spent 7 years up there, and I used to tell people, you either become more hardened in your conservative values, or you become woke. That's it. There is no middle ground. People are at both ends of the spectrum. The only ones that ignore any of it were, the influx of people, foreign-born nationals that were living in that area. As far as the schools, yeah, it is going to be kind of tough for Trump to sell that with a lot of the innovation, the things that were created here in the United States, it's done by Americans. Now, we've gotten, if you want to say, well, we need to, have more Chinese workers or something, like, no, the Chinese steal everything that we've got, so they don't have to go into the R&D portion of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he's going to have a problem with that. I think he's getting too much in the weeds. Getting back to what the Republicans can do and he can do, what's your, I agree with what the way that Newt Gingrich marketed it with the contract with America. Here's the things that we're going to do. Trump kind of did that when he ran for office. He said, here's the things I'm going to do. He did that the first time, and he followed through on it. I think that's what was a shock to the system in DC. But we don't seem to have anybody in elected office or representatives that are saying that. They're really good at parroting our concerns, or engaging in theater before a hearing. But I'm hoping that we can cultivate more people like myself and you that will ask them the questions. Okay, what were you doing the 4 years that Trump was out? Oh, you're running for re-election in 2026, and you're running on how you were shoulder to shoulder with him on the border. What exactly did you do about the border the 4 years he was out, and what have you done since then? You haven't done anything except talk about it. What would be the things that the 4 or 5 things that you would tell the Republican Party, if you'll focus on these things, you're going to win in perpetuity?
Yeah, it's really, I would bring it just down to 2, and it's like so easy and yet at the same time so unreachably hard, because of what I know about the Republican Party. And I really can't forgive Trump this year, and I know he's had successes. I know, but they haven't taken credit, and they've stepped on their. I won't use that on the air. They've shot themselves in the foot so many times that it's at this point, it's like you should be yelled at and punished for your inability to understand your base. And part of it is a situation of how bad the Biden administration was. Like, Trump thinks he won entirely because, again, a cult of personality, but he picked up so many voters who just wanted a strong man. They want somebody to play fast and loose with the rules, and they realize that they can't have the Democrats under somebody like Biden back in. And because of that, the things he was saying on the stump were very much like, we have to fix the border invasion, and not like a detailed plan of all of the rest of it. And so he's come in with not really a framework for what success is. Well, that's because success is, I'm sorry, we have to dismantle the system now. And the Republicans will not do that. They don't understand they can or have to. And it's like they don't have to this time, but they will lose and things will get worse. The temperature of the pot of water that the frog is in will go up, but it's already pretty hot right now. And the youth are, in my opinion, one economic hard landing away from rising up. And people could say, oh, well, how do we spur the Republican Party to actually do something? And I'm saying, well, history tells us that usually it's pitchforks and nooses. Like that's what will spur, unfortunately. And I'm just telling you, this is where America is going. They're already super concerned about a civil war. Political violence is the number one issue. And they're afraid that what happens when the left gets back in power and then you're sitting and watching these people fiddle while Rome burns. So the two-step plan is very easy. Charlie Kirk laid out an economic plan that's as good as any. And it's literally end H-1B scam, deport everybody, cut down on legal immigration, like things that will have very drastic consequences. But the people watching will cheer the tears of the billionaires that all of a sudden lose profits. That's part of the plan. It needs to be a wealth transfer back to the youth who've been stomped on. And then the other part, like I just talked about in the last segment, is unfortunately like brutal government reform. And a lot of people have to get fired and there will be plenty of good ones. But I don't know what to tell you. I've been saying this for a long time. The problems with DC are so bad that they really need drastic things. If you just think about it, one of the problems Trump has is that he's surrounded with the wrong people. Again, they're a different kind of the wrong people. This time they're like right-leaning oligarchs, but they're still oligarchs. And I was just saying this on Bannon. Think about how many events Trump had. How many millions of patriotic Americans have gone to rallies over the last 10 years? You imagine if they had just like had a resume stand and just interviewed people? They could have literally had an army of 5,000 FBI agents ready to be hired. Like, I'm just saying. And it's like, well, how can we fix the FBI? Well, it's like, you got to do something different than what we have. I don't know what it is, but like you could have been training these people. You know what I mean?
Well,
like getting them ready to go.
With fixing the FBI, and I'm going to talk about this in the second hour, is I think you've got too many people that want some quick wins out there, and they think the way to do that is to fire a bunch of street agents. Okay, well, you worked on the J6 case, or you worked on the Mar-a-Lago case. They're not the decision makers. You really want to gain the respect of people like me, and you want to gain respect to the people in the FBI. Hold accountable the people that made the decisions and move those things forward. Hold accountable Lisa Monaco. Hold accountable Merrick Garland. Hold accountable Chris Wray. Hold accountable Jim Comey. Strzok, Page, if you will hold those accountable. And I think you've got some people that are around Trump that said, fire a bunch of FBI agents. Okay, well, they encouraged some to leave. They fired some FBI agents, some street agents, got rid of some street agents. And then what happened? They found out, oh my crap, we had a wealth of knowledge of people that could actually be mentoring the next series of FBI agents. And now you've gotten rid of that, that knowledge base that's gone, and they're having to hire some of these people back to bring them back. And now they're doing it behind the scenes from what I hear, especially when I'm watching people that I know personally getting letters in the mail. Hey, would you consider coming back? Maybe we were a little too hasty at sending you out there, and now it's going to cost us more. That is the way that you fix the FBI. The street agent.
100%. I agree with you.
Our legal system, you bring, if somebody brought me an arrest warrant for Mark Mitchell and a judge has already signed off on it, the court is ordering me to bring you to the court. Now, the way that I bring you to the court is not something that I get to make the decision on. The executive management is going to make that decision. I will lobby for, hey, let me call Mark. I know him. He'll just meet me at the courthouse. You've got some people inside the FBI, and I've talked to some of the people that are in the news or that have been in the news the last 5 years that I actually know about what was going on behind the scenes and at meetings. And some of this stuff over a beer or something, we'll have to talk, and it will shock you. It will shock you. But I think I don't know how to get to Trump. Barron seems to be very smart. I think he might have a good BS meter, and maybe because he's back in school right now, Trump doesn't have that, that person speaking out and going, maybe this person is, they're getting a lot of press out there. And I'm going to talk about press in the second hour too. I'm not a big fan of the Trump News Network, which is Fox News. I know you love Fox News.
Nope.
That's
No. I'm
Oh,
blacklisted on Fox News.
I'm being
And they yeah. They hate Trump too. They hate Trump.
So how would you get what would you say to Trump? Would you say pivot off of this H-1B stuff? Stop talking about 50-year mortgages, which is a stupid idea. Because what would you say? You need to
Yeah.
pivot just to these two things that you mentioned, or how would you say this is how it's going to resonate with the people?
Trump needs to go back on Twitter. He really does. He needs to be brutally ratioed a few times till he can wake up and understand his follower base. He's the biggest brand man on earth. Like he knows, like he was hand in glove with his followers back in 2016. So I know he's capable of it. And unfortunately, they have him hermetically sealed off. And I know the leader of the free world has a lot of stuff to like deal with, but we can't afford a Trump who's not on Twitter. Like the Republic is too important in order for that to not be the case. And I'm being a little glib, but what I'm saying is the bar is pretty low for him to be able to understand what not to say. And I would summarize it by we are ruled by an oligarchy and you can't be the oligarchy. Like you cannot do, and the 50-year mortgage was an oligarchy response to a problem. It's like, oh, look, you put an elite in charge and they made a solution that helps all of the elites and doesn't actually help the people that it's intended to target. And we've just had too much of that. And so it's like, okay, you just gave America more of what it's rebelling against, to be honest with you. And I think that some of the stuff I'm saying is cracking through. I know, like, apparently JD Vance follows me on Twitter, and maybe some people are getting some of the war room stuff to the White House. I don't know. But it's like, this isn't rocket science. You know what I mean? Like, when I got into my Walmart team and I'm like, oh, this has some major problems. Like, it's kind of intuitively clear, like, how you change the culture in the team. And you know what? Like, a million people do this in the military all the time. It's not that hard. I was just ruminating about, remember when our corporate culture was incredible, and when it did so well and we had like a golden age in America, Detroit was like paved with gold, was when the GI generation came back from World War II and ran most of the corporations. And what did we have? We had a lot of loyalty. We had people rising to the top. We had a meritocracy. And we don't have that at all now, especially not in government. And it's like somebody that ran a battalion could clean up the FBI very easily. And it's like, okay, you say fire all the street agents. Yeah, that's a brutal, like brute force result, but it's not going to fix it because, like you say, you're not capturing the most important parts of the rot. So the way you fix it is you excise the rot until you get to, and not everybody's a white and black hat. There's a whole lot of gray hats. So you don't have to get everybody. You just have to get enough to where the culture switches to a high integrity culture. It's been done a million times, but like you said, you got to start with the bad actors and then they have to point fingers and you got to go through like 3 degrees of finger pointing and you get rid of like, the 50% of people in the upper management layer who are literally demons. And they've had a year to do it. And we're flying around in private jets with, country singers and suing members of the MAGA movement. I just don't understand.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the FBI jet here in the second hour too, and I'm gonna give my take on that and some advice, some tough love. Mark, tell people where they can find you. We got to cut for our last obscene profit timeout, and I got to come back and close it out. Man, thank you so much for coming on. It's good to see you again. I know we've traded some some DMs here and there and a text message often, but man, it feels like forever since we've actually just had a conversation.
Yeah, 100%. Maybe we can hang out. Maybe we can get to a Gary Heasley event together or something. Rasmussen _poll on Twitter, at sorry, I can't even talk. So much media. At Honest Pollster on Twitter as well. That's my account, and we have a YouTube channel, Rasmussen _poll. We're on Rumble and Getter and stuff too, but go to YouTube and Twitter.
All right, folks, get out there and follow Mark Mitchell. We're going to take this last break. Thanks again, Mark, for coming on. We will see you on the other side of this obscene profit timeout.
pizza loaded. Grab a Johnny's Pizza House, sweep the kitchen, and cheer on your hometown team. Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
Looking for the perfect spot to unwind with friends and family? El Patrio Mexican Restaurant is calling your name. With locations in Flowood and Cross Gates, Brandon, El Patrio is the cozy, family-owned gym where great food meets great times. Enjoy El Patrio's signature margaritas and happy hour specials that keep their customers coming back for more. Indulge in their authentic Mexican dishes prepared with love and served in a warm, family-friendly atmosphere. Come to El Patrio and taste the traditions. El Patrio, where family, flavor, and fun come together.
You can show your pride and patriotism in honor of the 250th birthday of this great nation by proudly flying a flag. And a complete flag source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
This holiday season, let Manship in Jackson take the reins on all your festive feastings with our holiday catering menu. We're talking platters, whole turkeys, baked hams, and prime rib that melts in your mouth. They also offer amazing casseroles and desserts that'll have everybody asking for seconds or thirds. And about those holiday gatherings, don't stress it. Their private rooms can host anywhere from 5 to 100 of your nearest and dearest friends, ensuring your party is as special as the occasion. Make your holidays hassle-free and delicious at or with the Manship.
All right, welcome back to the Andrew Gasser Show. I am Chris Hinkle, your blunt force conservative, in here for Andrew Gasser. I want to thank Mark Mitchell for coming on with me. That man, I could do 2 hours with Mark here. Mark really has his finger on the pulse of what's going on. When you come in here for the second hour, we're going to talk a lot of FBI stuff. We're going to talk about some things in the media. We may talk about that J6 pipe bomber. We're going to talk about Kash Patel and the plane. I'm going to give some tough love to Director Patel. I truly root for him. I hope he is successful. We're going to address these calls from people to dismantle the FBI. We're also going to talk about ChatGPT. There was a horrific suicide that occurred recently, and I've got some thoughts on how we can rein that in. It's scary. It is scary what transpired with that. And we'll take your calls at 601-879-0002. You can call in here to WYAB. I'm in here at the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studio. And I'm looking forward to this next hour, or spending it with you. Hopefully hear from some of you. I will try to make sure that I get you on the air. So give us a call, 601-879-0002.
News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. By the thousands, federal workers are returning to their jobs today now that the 43-day government shutdown is over. CDC retiree Steve Monroe is out at Atlanta in his old office building greeting workers as they come back.
It's great that they're going to be able to come back. It's great that they're going to get back pay. There are things that won't get done because the work was interrupted. I think for a lot of people, they don't think government work is important.
Airport officials around the country say it's going to be a while before things are back to normal. There have been about 1,000 flight cancellations today. Reporter James Rojas of affiliate WBZ is at Logan Airport in Boston.
The FAA has paused its plan to increase air traffic reductions at 6%. It means a lot for those traveling now and maybe during the holiday season.
That's good news. People need to get back home. I was actually dreading traveling because of, all the interruptions.
Still, folks can't help but feel uneasy about their flights getting delayed or canceled.
We just paid $300, so we just did a straight route instead of doing the layover, because I'm like, what if we get there and then they cancel the layover.
A Virginia judge held a hearing today and will rule before Thanksgiving on a bid by former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James to get the federal cases against them tossed out. CBS's Scott McFarland says they contend the prosecutor was illegally installed in the job.
It's possible these cases get dismissed over this issue. Enormous development if so. It also could complicate or slow down these prosecutions.
Bad scene in Weatherford, Oklahoma because of an anhydrous ammonia leak.
Weatherford police say the ammonia leaked from a tanker truck in a hotel parking lot last night. Hundreds of people, including residents of several nursing homes, were evacuated. This hotel guest ran through the gas cloud to a fire truck.
Couldn't breathe. Like I thought I'm dying. I thought I'm going to quit running and just collapse on the floor.
36 people were hospitalized. 4 victims in critical condition were flown to hospitals in Oklahoma City, 70 miles away. Nearby schools are closed today, but a shelter-in-place order has been lifted. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
New figures indicate there was a dramatic spike in the number of whooping cough cases in the U.S. last year, 6 times more than the year before. CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder.
One, we've seen an increase in non-medical exemptions to vaccination. Secondly, there is waning immunity with the pertussis, whooping cough vaccines that we use. Thirdly, we're just testing more aggressively with PCR tests. People might remember that from COVID. And so we're picking up more.
And checking Wall Street, right now the Dow is down 442 points. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Not only does Progressive let you bundle your insurance, they also give you round-the-clock protection. Quote today at Progressive.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-924-7415. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-924-7415. 800-924-7415. 800-924.
News this hour is brought to you by the Rusty Healy Agency in Madison. Call Landon Thompson at 601-856-3681 to request a quote or learn more.
A man dies trapped under a cotton picker. 76 and mostly sunny today. Clear tonight and 53. Up to 78 Friday and Saturday. 80s by Monday. And Monday night, you could see some rain and a little bit of a cool down, but just to the mid-70s. You've got news on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis. Firefighters and first responders rushed to Moon Lake Road in Coahoma County, north of Clarksdale. Sirens wailing Tuesday afternoon when a man was trapped under a piece of farm equipment and was obviously in serious shape. A wrecker was used to partially lift up the picker, and they got the man out, but it was too late. His name has not been made public. You may not be aware of the 1% Commission. They control what is done with the extra penny that Jackson collects on sales tax and use it for projects like paving. Now that commission may get a bit of revamping with the new administration.
If this commission gets cleaned up from a structure standpoint and then the mayor's allowed to make his appropriate appointments, December would be a very productive meeting if the appointments were able to be made and confirmed by then.
That was during Wednesday's meeting. Former Mayor Lumumba and several commission members frequently butted heads over what was done with the money. A K-9 officer in North Mississippi is seriously injured. Dagger was hit by a car on Highway 51 in South Haven because a wanted man took off running from police and made another driver swerve right into Dagger. The dog is getting treatment, and Bubba Pilkington is still out there for him to catch. A disturbance on a JPS bus caused the driver to have to pull over on the side of the road Tuesday, and a student ended up having to get medical treatment. The district won't go any further in describing what actually happened on the bus, but they say no weapons were involved and that it was a parent who pulled the kid off and got them treatment. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and do not necessarily reflect those of this radio station, its parent, affiliated, or related entities, agents, or employees.
All right. This is not Andrew Gosser. This is Chris Hinkle, your blunt force conservative. I am a retired FBI supervisory special agent. I'm a small business owner here in Madison, Mississippi. I do a lot of contract work, some work with some law firms, and I'm a husband, a father of 3 boys, Jake, Josh, and Noah. They are all in their 20s right now. Of course, Jake is going to be going into his 30s next year. That is scary because that means I've gotten older too. And I have 2 beautiful daughters-in-law with Sarah Grace and Caroline, and a possibly future daughter-in-law with my youngest son Noah's girlfriend. And then, of course, we have our blessed granddaughter, Sutton Grace Hinkle, the first female born into the Hinkle family, bearing that last name in 55 years. My baby sister was the last one to be born with that last name in the family, bearing Hinkle, and she's coming over with her husband and my nephew and my brother and his girl. They're all coming over for Thanksgiving, and they're going to get a chance to meet her. If you notice, I changed the camera view here. Give me some feedback on that. What do you think? Do you like this side shot here? You can kind of see what's happening on the board, the things that I have to do and control. Man, you just really need a producer in here. I was talking to Clay Edwards, who hosts the #1 morning drive time radio show in Mississippi, the Clay Edwards Show on WYAB. Follow him at Save Jackson, SAVEJXN on X. He's on all of all of the media platforms, and you can stream here at www.wyab.com. But Clay is talking about he's going to get a producer so that he can be on the other side of the board. It really helps you, focus your thoughts when you're not having to take control of all of this stuff. So what do you guys like? You like the side view here? Of course, it makes my arm look like it's about, 25-inch python right there. I do have big arms. I am built rather muscular, I guess, for my age and my height. I'm 61 years old, but still pretty deadgum strong. I actually go into the gym as soon as I leave here. Got my t-shirt out in the car. Going to change, go get a workout in. If we pass that on, my dad lifted a little bit of weights when he was growing up. He has, natural, big chest build. For my mom's side of the family, same thing. That's kind of passed on to my kids. Even Josh, our middle son, who doesn't really lift weights or anything, he's still a pretty big dude. And then our oldest son, Jake, who works at the Madison Healthplex, was a state champion power lifter here. So, like 5'8", 5'8.5", and he competed at around the 165 to 170 class. And he was squatting and deadlifting about 540 and pause benching 300. Now I can bench 300 pounds right now. I can do that, but I can't do it pause benching. I can get a couple reps out of it of 300 right now, but I can't pause bench. You got to bring it down and it's got to just touch your chest, and you have to stay there in competition until they give you the thumbs up or the call for press. And then you lock out and you can't rack it until they say rack. It is a whole different different world doing that. So you guys like the side view, or here's the front view? You can look directly at me. Of course, I'm sporting my Alabama Crimson Tide shirt. Alabama's playing Oklahoma this weekend. Looking forward to that game. My youngest son, Noah, and his girl, Maddie, are going to the game. And then we're going to meet back up with them and her parents on Sunday in Meridian to do an early Thanksgiving dinner with them, since they won't be able to make it over here for Thanksgiving. So looking forward to that. I am an Alabama Crimson Tide, as I like Tide fan, as I like to tell people. My parents raised me Christian. That's why I'm an Alabama fan. It says it in the book of Ezekiel in Alabama, for what is this high place that you go to? And it's called Bama unto this day. Of course, it's spelled the old biblical way, B-A-M-A-H. We're going to cover some things here in the second hour. I'm going to do a setup here before I take the first break, so we can get a little longer time in on the last 2 segments. But we're going to talk about some of the issues going on involving the FBI with the J6 bomber. There's some people in the media out there that may have gotten a little bit out over their skis in calling for some things, and it's interesting to sit back and eat my popcorn and observe and watch some of the people out there go into some battles here. But we're going to talk about, as you can see from the scroll, those of you that are watching on X, on YouTube, or Rumble, we're going to talk about the FBI, Cash Patel, and I call it Planes, Trains, and Automobiles from the old Steve Martin, John Candy movie. We're also going to discuss AI, and that was something that was in the media, and some local politics. That was a little bit of what I was touching on with Mark Mitchell in the last hour. Really, if you want to affect some change, and I agree with Andrew Gasser on this, you got to do it at the local level. Some people need to do that from becoming delegates. Some people need to do that just by having candid conversations in public places with their elected representatives and holding them accountable. That's kind of the path that I've taken, and it has served me well. I guess I had a lot of pent up political angst from after spending 25 years as a federal agent and subject to the Hatch Act, where I really couldn't talk much about politics openly. Um, so I think maybe it's a little overwhelming when I talk to some of these elected representatives. Some of them I think are genuinely terrified of me just based on observances when I show up at some of these events. And man, I'm not a hateful guy. I don't do gotcha questions and stuff. It's going to be very difficult to catch me flat-footed because I'm well rooted in the Constitution, as some of the people that have stepped onto that constitutional debate stage with me have found out. But we're going to take the break here in just a moment. But when we come back, we're going to talk about FBI stuff. And if you've got questions in there, if you think that, I'm out here trying to say anything negative, that I'm trying to defend the malfeasance of some people from the FBI, it is far from it. Believe me, since I've been retired in 2019, I am calling on a lot of these people, the miscreants, the Jim Comeys, the Chris Rays, the Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Kevin Kleinsmith, people that actually violated the law and the Constitution to be held accountable. And I'm going to talk about why that's important and why the people calling out there for rank and file agents that are working the streets to be fired, and some of the idiotic statements from elected representatives to people that think that they're influencers because they think X is the real world. It's not the real world. You can't base it on the number of followers that you have, that you're some soothsayer or learned person just because you have 100, 200, 500,000 followers, even a couple million followers out there. It doesn't make you any smarter than anybody else. It's a small portion of the population. It's interesting when I see somebody out there that has over 200,000 followers and they're demonetized. That tells me that not all their followers are even listening to what they say. It's almost like that subscription service that you sign up for that costs you about $10 a month, and you just kind of forget about it, and you didn't realize that you were paying $10 a month for the last 10 years. I think there's a lot of people that subscribe to some of these people that have forgotten they even subscribe to them. They don't see them in their feed, depending on how they set it up on X. So, those people trying to think there's some kind of influence. Clay Edwards himself here, I think he has about 7,000 or more followers on X. He's monetized. So tell me how a person over 200,000 followers is demonetized because they can't get the engagement that guys like Mark Mitchell and Clay Edwards can get online with much less followers. You have to get to at least that 5 million in 3 months. And if you've got over 200,000, that tells me something. I had somebody try to call me out because I have about 2,700 followers. I haven't been on X that long, maybe about a year and a couple months. And, just really started doing this podcast stuff and commenting online. But I will note, when I go online, the podcast like we have here, I'm going to switch back over to this other view. The podcast that we have here, and especially being on the radio, I've seen people with over 200,000 followers have less than 1% of that total showing up in views of what they put online. And mine have been averaging about 50%. online. So I'll take the 50% of a very learned and targeted audience. So we're going to take our first break right here. When we come back, we're going to hit this FBI stuff. I've just pulled up the chat. So if you got some questions, I see some comments in there from No Wars, from Heart Wit Drive. I actually know who that person is. She just texted me a little while ago. But we're going to take this obscene profit timeout here on the Andrew Gasser Show. This is Chris Hinkle, and I'm broadcasting here at WYAB. If you want to call in and ask me anything, challenge me on the Constitution, feel free. 601-879-0002. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
WYAB. Antique Mall of the South has 14,000 square feet of pristine, clean floor space. Home to beautiful, timeless antique treasures. Antique Mall of the South is open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. Check them out online at antiquemallofthesouth.com or go to the Antique Mall of the South Facebook page. You can also read the dozens of 5-star reviews online. Come see for yourself at Antique Mall of the South in Ridgeland. Now open Monday to Saturday, 10 to 5. That's Antique Mall of the South, Highway 51 in Ridgeland.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
Getting a new prescription filled in your eyeglasses may not get rid of your headaches. It may not be the prescription at all. If your eyeglasses are not custom fit and properly adjusted to you, that could be the source of your headaches. At Eye Gear Optical, we verify the prescription in your lenses and the custom fitting of your frames to ensure you have the most comfortable and visually accurate eyeglasses every time. We fit eyeglasses to you, your lifestyle, and your budget. Eye Gear Optical, 2630 Highway 80 East in Pearl and eyegearoptical.com.
Hi, this is Lee Atkins of Home Care Plus in Ridgeland. We are a proud carrier of Abena Premium Incontinence products. Abena has the most absorbency available, making changes and leaks less likely. After 7 years as a seller, I can tell you these products are amazing and worth every penny to quality of life for patient and caregiver. And we ship all incontinence products as well. So please come see us at Home Care Plus in Ridgeland for all the incontinence needs of you or your family member. That's Home Care Plus in Ridgeland.
After 28 years, we are closing our brick and mortar location in Canton come November 2025. But fear not, smalltownmusic.com will remain alive and well, and you will still be able to text or call 601-859-8596. Small Town Music, come on and get it. 859-8596. Call before you're home. We will have a booth on Canton Square at the Emporium, and you can still browse our guitars and support our original music at www.smalltownmusic.com.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Are you craving a home-cooked meal without the hassle? Come over to McBee's Bar and Grill in Ridgeland for their Blue Plate lunch specials. Served up every weekday, at McBee's is a different entree every day. Chicken spaghetti on Mondays, beef tip Tuesday, pork chop Wednesday, spaghetti Thursday, and catfish Fridays. And McBee's Blue Plate lunch comes with 2 classic southern sides and cornbread or a roll. McBee's specials are served every weekday from 11 to 2. McBee's, buzzing the res since 1982.
Y'all come see us at Flora Animal Hospital, your trusted hometown vet. We offer a wide variety of veterinary services, including boarding. Dr. Kaylee McCary is a Madison County native who has been serving the Flora community and surrounding areas since 2013. She leads our team of highly trained and compassionate women. We are located at 740 Highway 49 in the Cotton Exchange Plaza. Call us today at 601-879-3222. At Flora Animal Hospital, we treat your pets like our own.
All right. Those of you listening on the radio were treated to some ELO, Don't Bring Me Down. I had to, my brother-in-law who produces my podcast that we broadcast from my office here periodically. I need to get more of a regimented in that. I've been so busy lately, especially with the granddaughter and then trying to catch up on some private business work. We got dinged on YouTube, he told me, because there was a little bit of bumper music. And I thought that was kind of odd for YouTube to do that. I think it was called a strike. But, 15, 20 seconds of a song, we're not making any money off of that. But oh well, that's YouTube for you. So I try to at least let you guys hear what's going on in Mississippi. So I'll pull the radio feed button up here. I'll show you what that looks like. So there's a button here called radio feed that I can pull up, and you can hear the commercials. All right. So when we went to the break, I told you we were going to talk a little bit about FBI stuff. There's some some reports out there where a reporter from the Blaze, that's Glenn Beck's network, this guy put this article together, and he named a person that he believed to be the person that was in the video setting the what looks like fake or inactive explosive devices on January 5th and January 6th of 2021. And it's very telling that I just went and looked at the Blaze's feed, and they're not actually leading with it, which is odd. This is supposed to be like a national breaking story, but I'm not seeing a ton of reporting on the Blaze there. And it's also very telling that a lot of the major news networks aren't saying it as well. You got to be very careful when you go out there with information like that. You better have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, because there can be some lawsuits that happen. And you've got some individuals, they call themselves whistleblowers. They're not whistleblowers. One of them in particular that's trying to grift off of this and deflect attention toward himself. And I'm not sure how that's going to play out either. So if you're looking for somebody that you want somebody that has some expertise, some knowledge, skills, and experience somewhere, I don't understand why people are even listening to this kid. And I call him a kid because he's like 20 years younger than I am. But he barely had a cup of coffee in the bureau. I think he'd been in about 5 years or so, maybe less than that. Bounced around from squad to squad. I think even Dan Bongino platformed him at one time, and of course that went sour. Who could have known that was going to happen? Who could have warned him about that? Cue my good friend John Nance. I don't understand why people put stock in that, especially if you go back and look at that guy's track record. He has definitely been so wrong on so many things, but people are looking for confirmation bias. They believe a certain thing, and they want to believe that thing is true. So that brings us to the topic here. I'm not going to talk more about the J6 thing. If you want to find out what's going on with that, go follow Dan Bongino. Go follow Julie Kelly. And if somebody does get in touch with Julie Kelly, ask her why she blocked me. I have no idea. I went back and looked at every interaction I've ever had with her on X, and I can't find anything negative. I think I just may have been accidentally blocked. That's fine if she wants to. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm just kind of curious as to why. She may not even realize that she had done that. So, yeah, the J6 thing is going to play out interesting. And now Thomas Massey has weighed in on it. And those of you who have listened to me talk on this radio show and this podcast, I know that I'm not a fan of Thomas Massey. I think Thomas Massey is somebody that likes to hear himself talk, that likes to draw attention to himself. I don't think that I know that he doesn't follow the Constitution, with his and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's really disappointed me on the whole Epstein thing. And we may talk about the Epstein thing here in a minute. But he's out there, I've sent a letter. I'm, trying to, this whistleblower has told me this information to reveal who the J6 bomber is. Why is the FBI hiding it? Really think about that. Somebody like that was very critical of the FBI, like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel. You think they got that corrupted in just a short period of time? They just came in and got corrupted, or somebody has dirt on them or something like that. I just don't. I watch their body language when they're on TV, and they don't seem uncomfortable there. I do have some issues with both of them and Andrew Bailey, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. As I said, some tough love here. I've got some people that are close to them that I talk with from time to time. They know that it's not just it's not just hyperbole to say blunt and blunt force conservative. I just call it the way it is, and we've got some issues there. So one of these issues is, and it was brought up, the plane use by Kash Patel. Now, before he became the FBI director, he was at a party and he had famously said something about he can't wait to be able to use that plane. I know what he was doing. He was making a dig at Chris Wray, who famously testified before Congress and was talking about how he had to get out of town for vacation and he was going to take that plane. The problem he has is that draws additional attention to him once he became the FBI director. So there was going to be some extra scrutiny. You've given some ammunition to your enemies that if they see you, even if it's legitimate use of that plane, they're going to use it to cause you problems. And that is what has happened. And you've got some people inside and outside the White House that believe, I think I can bring some receipts. I think they believe that X is the real world, and it's not. That's one of the things I find from, attending luncheons and just talking to people. It's a totally different world than they are. But there are some people that want to manage things through the media. And I touched on that lightly with Mark in the last hour. So he's used the plane. He's flown to some personal events back in Nevada, I think where he lives, down to Tennessee to meet with his girlfriend, down to Florida to attend an event, took the plane over to China. Well, let me tell you, after 9/11, and I think it was codified into law around 2011, the FBI director is mandated to use that government transportation. And even though it is very expensive to staff his protective service detail, flight crew for that plane, fuel, all of that stuff, it is, it's still more cost effective to use that than to try to logistically move the director from point A to point B through commercial means. It's just very difficult to do. So the director, according to the rules, the law, he's mandated that if he's going to use it for any type of personal use, it has to be de minimis. And if he's going to use it, he has to reimburse what it would have cost for him to travel commercially. And he's been doing that, and he pays that out beforehand. Ben Williamson, his main media person at the FBI, has given that information out. It had some people in this fake world on X thinking they had gotten onto something where Kash was abusing this privilege. So was he abusing the privilege of the plane? I don't think so. I know from people that I talk to how much personal time that he takes away from the FBI, and it doesn't. It's less than what Chris Wray was taking away from there. It's less than what Jim Comey was taking away from the FBI. But there's that appearance. So you're a single guy, not married, no kids, got a girlfriend, significantly younger. Beautiful girl, nice girl too. I actually had some text conversations with her. She is a sweet girl. She sang at one of my dear friend of 50 years is owner of one of the clubs in Tuscaloosa, and she sang there, and he was just amazed at how great she sings. She's a great girl. Here's the problem that I have, and I thought about it from the perspective of me, who's been married for almost 34 years with 3 grown children and daughters-in-law, and my youngest son with a girlfriend and a granddaughter, of how I would have handled if I had lobbied for and gotten that position as director. And what we're going to do right now is I'm going to tell you exactly how I would have handled it, and I'm going to give some very cogent and civil advice to Kash Patel and others in the FBI of how to comport themselves. And I'm going to tell you a little behind the scenes of what amenities you have in working with the FBI. This is Chris Hinkle. I am on WYAB at the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios here in Flora, Mississippi on the Andrew Gasser Show. And we will see you again on the other side of this obscene profit timeout.
WYAB. Hey guys, this is Casey Ellis with Ellis Autoplex, located on Highway 471 in Brandon. Ellis Autoplex, known as Little Truck City, is your old school mom and pop style dealership that's family owned and operated. We specialize in 4-wheel drive trucks, but don't worry, we have cars and SUVs too. Looking to sell your vehicle? Bring it by Ellis Autoplex, where we pay fair market value and we cut you a check on the spot. Need your vehicle service or repair? We can handle that too. Shop us online or set your appointment at ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com.
Hey, Rankin County, swing by the locally owned and award-winning 042 Wine and Spirits on Highway 80 next to Sonny's Barbecue in Brandon today. We've got one of the largest selections around with over 200 bourbons and whiskeys to ignite your taste buds, more than 50 vodkas, 50-plus tequilas, 30-plus rums, and ready-to-drink cocktails, as well as premium scotches. And get this, we've got over 400 wines in stock for the perfect pairing anytime. Discover your new favorites today at 042 Wine and Spirits right next to Sonny's Barbecue, Highway 80, Cross Gates, Brandon.
CBS News Brief. The federal government getting back to business today. The 43-day shutdown now over. Everett Kelly heads up a union that represents about 800,000 government workers.
The members that I represent, they are ecstatic. They are happy that the government's open. They can now get back to life. They can get back to business. They can make sure that there's food on the table.
A judge plans to rule before Thanksgiving on the move by James Comey and Letitia James to contest their indictments, challenging the legitimacy of the prosecutor. CBS's Scott McFarland.
It's possible these cases get dismissed over this issue. Now, whether the Department of Justice tries to find a way to refile them, it's a different question.
An anhydrous ammonia leak in a hotel parking lot in Weatherford, Oklahoma, sent more than 30 people to the hospital.
We couldn't breathe. Like I thought I'm dying. I thought I'm going to quit running and just collapse on the floor.
Hundreds of people evacuated from the area. CBS News Brief. I'm Steve Kathan.
This is Doug with Magnolia Safety Group. Imagine a workplace where every employee feels safe and empowered. At Magnolia Safety Group, we make that vision a reality. From OSHA compliance to customized training, hazard assessments, and safety audits. We deliver tailored solutions that protect your people and boost productivity. Don't just meet safety standards, exceed them. Partner with Magnolia Safety Group and build a safer future one workplace at a time. Call us today to get started or check out our website at magnoliasafetygroup.com.
Hey, this is John with MES. That's Mississippi Energy Services. We sell, service, and install all makes and models of home and business generators. One thing that we do different than a lot of other companies is we do all the work ourselves. We don't use subcontractors. We go from the original estimate, the design, to the final product. That way we can control the quality of the job from the beginning to the end. We are online at msenergy.us.
At Center for Orthodontics, we believe in family, tradition, and community. From kids to adults, Sandifer offers state-of-the-art orthodontic care with complimentary consultations, so everyone in the family can smile with confidence. Sandifer Orthodontics proudly supports Tri-County Academy and the Building on Tradition campaign, so a short drive to local businesses like Sandifer helps TCA thrive. Begin the journey to a beautiful smile at sandiferortho.com. Sandifer Orthodontics, Highland Village, Jackson, and Gateway Drive in Brandon.
Grizz Nation, the place to be is at FedEx Forum when your Memphis Grizzlies return to battle the Sacramento Kings on Thursday, November 20th at 7 p.m. Bring the energy and get the first look at the 2025-2026 City Edition uniforms on the court. Grab your tickets today at grizzlies.com/tickets or visit the FedEx Forum box office.
All right. A little music there on the radio for my Mississippi State fans. A little Don't Fear the Reaper with the illustrious cowbell. So when we went to the break, I told you how I would have comported myself had I been the director. Now, if only I had written an article with some day one recommendations for the FBI director, and I'd written that even before Kash Patel was selected or lobbied for the position. Oh, wait, I did. I did write an article like that. So if you want to look at Havoc Journal online, or if you just want to search, my name, you can Google it, Hinkle Day One Agenda FBI. If you just put that, you'll find the article on there, and it's the same some of the same recommendations I'd give right now. So it is no secret that Kash was lobbying for this position, that he wanted it, that he felt like he was the right person to go in and clean house. Definitely had some animosity against the FBI. Wrote this book, Government Gangsters, calling out things. The problem we have right now, and I think there's some hurdles that he and Dan Bongino and Andrew Bailey are going through, is they're inexperienced at the world of the FBI. You have executive management who actually runs the show out there, and then you have the street agents. And the street agents that are out there, this is where I really got frustrated with these guys calling themselves whistleblowers. The majority, if not all of them, were performance issues. We'll say that inside the FBI, and that led to their exit from the FBI. So, what I think is, if you're going to lobby for that position, you don't want to do things to draw what I call unnecessary attention to yourself. And I think by mentioning that plane and by using it for personal use. Now, here's the behind the scenes info about things in the FBI. When you become an FBI agent, when you're a street agent, this is not necessarily the case once you move into management. But when you're a street agent, you are issued an FBI car. A BU car is what we call it. My first BU car was a 1994 light blue Crown Victoria police package. Had the lights and everything on it. And I drove that for a while, and then I moved over to a Dodge. I think it was an Intrepid, Dodge Intrepid. I drove that for a while, and then I had the opportunity to move to FBI headquarters, and I drove a Ford Excursion. Now, most people that go to FBI headquarters, unless you're at the highest levels of executive management, usually the deputy assistant director, or primarily the assistant director and above, you don't even have a parking space inside below that. You might, if you're in a pool, you can ride in a pool car that'll be parked down there, and they get that one pass for 5 or 6 people. But this one of these luxuries. Now, the thing that they told us was be very careful with it, because you can get jammed up pretty quick for misusing that car. We used to say I could legally, if I had to shoot somebody to defend, my life or from serious bodily harm of me, my fellow officers or citizens, could legitimately shoot somebody, I would get 30 days paid vacation. I would get a brand new gun, because they're going to take a look at my gun that was used in that. But I could do something very minor. Let's say I go home and my kids are excited about, hey, look, Dad's driving this police package car, and I take them for a ride around the block in that car. If I do that and somebody sees it and reports it, I get 30 days on the bricks with no pay that quick. So I can get a 30-day paid vacation for being involved in a deadly force action. But I can get 30 days no pay for misusing that car. Now, I'm not saying that Kash Patel misused the plane. I don't think he did. I honestly don't believe that he did. He is authorized to use it for personal use. He made the reimbursements. All of that is fine. I know that if I lobbied hard to get that position, and this is what Kash needs to understand, and I hope the mutual friend that I give very blunt advice to pass along to him, is that, if you want to see your girlfriend, have her fly up to see you. You should be about 6-7 days a week of working that job. Now I know you're working it pretty hard and you're doing things even when you're on travel, on personal travel, but you got your protective service detail. It's the appearance there. And that is the problem that can damage your credibility with people on the outside, and especially in this media world where you've got people that will highlight and magnify that. So my recommendation, and I said this from the very beginning, the first time that he took a trip as director, there was a picture of him and some others on a tarmac, and they were, dressed in just street clothes, and they were heading to an MMA event, actually hanging out with one or two people that I'm acquainted with. So I think that, that draws unnecessary attention. And the first thing I said to this, this mutual friend of ours is, you got to stop that. You can't have that. No more tarmac pictures. I don't want to see any pictures of you at an MMA event. Now, I'm sure that he loves his girlfriend. Beautiful girl. Like I said, great singer, sweet girl. I have no issues with her whatsoever. But as the director of the FBI, that appearance, you should appear to be constantly on the job and on top of things. Because if you don't appear to be constantly on top of things, when something breaks really, really bad and you're unable to adequately address it in the eyes of the public, you're probably going to, it can result in you not being the FBI director anymore. Not saying that Trump should fire him or anything like that. I'm just saying that if if you want to bring that extra heat, that unnecessary attention to yourself when something big happens, a 9/11 style event, how you respond to it is going to be studied and evaluated, and people are going to try to set the narrative on it. And you don't want to give them the ammunition to use against you. So that's what I would do if I was him. I would just say, hey, girlfriend, if you want to come, if fly up here, I'll pay for you to fly up here. He makes a good living. He makes over $200,000 a year as the FBI director. Pay for a ticket to fly up there. She's got her own money too. Fly up there to see him. If it happens to be something that was pre-scheduled, that's FBI wise, that's in Nevada or in Nashville or something like that, she can fly to that location. Doesn't mean he's flying to see her, but you don't want to draw that unnecessary attention. So if you go take a look at the article that I wrote, Day One Agenda for the FBI Director, and this is before Cash was even mentioned. A couple of the things that I have here on my notepad. Suit. I say this constantly. A friend of mine that knows Cash, I've told this person this. Get rid of that raid jacket. Stop wearing the raid jacket. I don't want to see you with the raid jacket and the belt badge and all of that. The suit is the uniform of the FBI agent. It's actually the uniform of the FBI director. When people were, we said when I came out of the FBI in the 90s, when people show up at the crime scene, they're looking for who's in charge. They're looking for the person in the suit. You just tend to command respect. Almost every interrogation or interview that I did in my career in the FBI, except when I was over in Baghdad working out of a prison, interrogating terrorists and jihadis and battlefield combatants, I wore a suit because I wanted the person to know this is serious, and you just look more serious. The second is, if you got something to say, get behind a podium, make sure that you're well briefed by your public affairs person, by the division that handles whatever issue that you're going to talk about, that your briefing team around you has you well versed in any possible questions you have on other matters, and people may throw at you on other matters. You've got to be prepared for that. It looks more professional when you're standing behind that podium. So to tell you a quick story about why I'm so adamant that needs to happen is when I came into the FBI and I was a young agent, we were going through and I came in, Clinton was the president at the time. And we were going through the Clinton investigation. And as a young agent with just a couple years in, I was, picked, voluntold. You have to go downtown New York Avenue and you're going to read White House emails 8 hours a day. or 8 or 10 hours a day, every day for 2 weeks. And I remember sitting in a room. It was me and there's another agent with her back to me, and we're just sitting there with Lotus notes going through every FBI email. And there was a story that, or there was a feeling that when George W. Bush was elected, that based on the activities, especially the Monica Lewinsky stuff, and the other things that were going on in the White House at that time, that that the adults were back in charge, that the adults were coming in. And I can tell you, it is a fact. When the White House staff under Clinton left, they tore all the W's off of every keyboard for every computer. I mean, that's childish stuff. So it was the appearance that at least the adults were back in charge. And that is that appearance. And that gave them some instant credibility when they came in. And if you remember, George W. Bush, he didn't do a lot of television interviews. Neither did Dick Cheney. A lot of people from his staff didn't. If they had something to say, they said it from behind a podium, either through their press secretary. Tony Snow was press secretary at one time, Dana Perino. The things that they were said, the message they sent, and it keeps it more consistent when you do it that way. And that's something that Cash needs to get back to. I thought, the times that I've seen him behind the podium with others, and he's in that suit, it looks professional. You tend to take him more seriously. The other thing is you've got to give the appearance that you work your butt off. And I'll use the word butt. And that's one of the things that I tried to exemplify to people that reported to me when I was a field desk supervisor here in Jackson, Mississippi, when I transferred from Washington, D.C., is I always try to be in the office before they were, and I was the last one to leave the office in the evening. I want them to understand, I'm getting a lot of what appears to them to be perks of being the desk supervisor, but I wanted to set that tone. The other thing is, I just don't know how to put this. Let the people around you speak on things. Let the local field offices do their own press announcements. Let them answer the questions. They tend to do it from behind a podium too. I just think that's the better way to do it. The other recommendation I had was, get back to the Constitution and tie that to everything. So we're going to take a quick break here now early so I can get a couple of minutes instead of a minute and 15 seconds at the end. I'm going to give a shout out to some people that I follow online, some people that have some of the same questions and comments that I do in these areas. And we will do that on the other side of this obscene profit timeout. I'm Chris Hinkle, your Blood Force conservative, here on the Andrew Gasser Show.
WYAB. Hi, this is Casey Holcomb with Mississippi Hometown Realty. This is the perfect weather for football and the perfect time to buy or sell a home. I have a passion for helping people achieve their real estate goals. So when you're ready to buy or sell, I want you to call me first, Casey Holcomb with Mississippi Hometown Realty. Visit mshomesforyou.com. That's mshomesforyou.com. I'm Casey Holcomb, doing what I love and loving what I do.
MS license number 51833 by phone 601-398-1620.
If you've ever been stuck on the side of the road with engine trouble or because of an accident, you know how frustrating that can be. I'm Chad Stevens of Chad Stevens Record Service. We'll help take some of the stress out of the stressful situation. We've been rated by AAA as one of the top 10 towing services in the entire USA. Why? Well, just ask our customers. So keep our number in your cell phones and call us if you need us. 662-755-8645. That's Chad Stevens Record Service. 662-755-8645.
The holidays are here, and the magic is back at Manja Benet.
Give the gift of great taste with our 3-in-1 gift card. Good at Bravo, Broad Street, and Sal & Mookie's.
And here's where the holiday magic really happens. Buy 3 gift cards, get 1 free, and 10% goes to charity.
Perfect for family, friends, or a little something for you. Celebrate the season with the Bravo, Broad Street, Sal & Mookie's 3-in-1 gift card, available online or at any of our restaurants.
3 great restaurants, One magical gift.
After 16 wonderful years serving our community, Lewis Furniture Store in Clinton is closing its doors. The owners are moving to Tennessee to be closer to their children and 6 beautiful grandchildren. That means it's your last chance to save big during their final day's store closing sale. Every item must go before they close for good on November 22nd. They're open every day until 8 p.m. except Sunday. So don't wait. Stop by Lewis Furniture and take home the quality you love before it's gone forever. Located on Highway 80 in Clinton, Mississippi, right next to Nukes.
You know what's a nightmare? We've all seen that movie where the bad guy's coming and your gun jams up. Luckily, that's just a movie, but you can't take the chance it could happen to you in real life. Hey, y'all, I'm Therese Apel from Dark Horse Press, and I've written stories about a whole lot of situations where people needed their gun to work for them. So if yours is moody or likes to jam, you need to take it to Guns and Gear. Let their professional gunsmiths look at it and fix it so it'll work when you need it. They're the absolute best at what they do, and that's why I buy all my guns from them. That's Guns and Gear in Gluckstadt. Check them out today.
Ken here with Rapid Oil Change, a leader in fast service and fleet account maintenance for over 40 years, providing routine maintenance for most makes and models, keeping downtime to a minimum. We accept most local and national fleet accounts. Can't see at night? Headlights looking faded? Check out our newest service, the Bright Light Headlight Restoration Kit by Mighty Automotive. Available now. Keep your vehicle ready for the road ahead. And remember, drive hard with Castrol Edge. Open 6 days a week with 6 locations to serve. Visit us online for specials and location information at oilchangems.com.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
We all love the farm-to-table food concept, right? Well, at Burnt Corn Farm, they bring you locally grown flowers straight from the farm to the vase. With a wide selection of flowers and excellent service, Burnt Corn Farm will make your next party or shower a southern delight. Sign up for a monthly bouquet subscription, and their farm fresh flowers will brighten your days all season long. You can also book your next family photo session in their wildflower field. That's Burnt Corn Farm on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, Chris Hinkle, your blunt force conservative, back here on WYAB. If you tried to call in and I missed your call, I apologize. I don't know if you can see it here. Well, I guess you can't. Right in front of me is the little light that flashes whenever somebody calls on the phone. I'm not actually looking at the phone constantly. So if I missed your call, I apologize. You can DM me. You can comment on the stream as it shows up on X, YouTube, or Rumble. So we got about 4 minutes and some change right now. That's why I wanted to come back here real quick. I want to give a shout out to some people, and I used to do this on my podcast at the beginning, then we kind of moved it to the end. But some people that I would recommend that you follow if you really want to keep up with what's going on. People that will tell you the blunt truth. No pun intended. Pun intended. And that's some of the people here that might be listening in right now. I'm looking in the chat. We've got No Wars. He says they put people who don't understand the FBI in charge. This isn't a recipe for overall success. They needed leadership that knows how the system works and why it's broken. I agree. That's why, you know, when I see these people with limited intelligence, especially the ones that were calling these whistleblowers, I'll put them in quotation marks, these whistleblowers, they were going to put them in leadership positions, the FBI. You're really going to take a guy that had been in about 4 years and put him in charge of something like that? That's like taking some intern inside of a major corporation and saying, oh, well, we fired him for the wrong reasons, or we maybe didn't follow the correct procedures when we fired him. And we're going to bring him back, but now we're going to put him in a management position to oversee this stuff. It's just a recipe for, disaster. But some of the people out there that I follow that promote me, and I truly appreciate it, I try to promote them. Anita McGroin, I know that's not her actual name, but you can find her on X at Anita McGroin, Queen Anita DBS. She is tied to the old Dan Bongino show, and now the guy that took his place, his name escapes me right now. Another is In the Matrix. That's another guy out there. He's been really on top of this J6 bomber stuff of analyzing the reporting that's been coming out from the Blaze and comparing and contrasting that to what's being said out there to some of the idiotic statements of Thomas Massey. Another, if you want to get in more information on the Arctic frost investigation, where our elected representatives are crowing and yelling and screaming about their rights being violated, it'd just be really nice if they would think about doing the same thing when our rights are violated, instead of being shout out to my friend that you also should follow out there, Chris Salcedo, about John Cornyn and his and Tim Scott's attempts to usurp our rights. And that's Ada Nestor is somebody that I would follow out there. She's got something on the Arctic frost. And Gary Heasley, he tweets under the Conservative Voice. And of course, Mark Mitchell that we had on earlier. Those are some of the people that I follow, that I listen into. And I want to give a shout out to Jen and HR Guy. There's some people, they don't have a ton of followers, but man, I really enjoy interacting with them. So now we are getting ready to sign off here. Let's see how much time we've got left. We got about 1 minute. Real quick on the AI stuff. I will try to hit that on my next podcast for my office, but I want to talk about AI and where it encouraged this poor young man, kind of pushed him over the edge about committing suicide. I do think that, there are certain things, lines that when you cross them, there must be severe and detrimental actions taken, or it's not going to fix it. If you're thinking the government's going to pass some type of oversight and fix it, you're misinformed. I think ChatGPT, just my personal opinion of what they did, what their algorithm did in encouraging that guy, I think they should lose the business. I think ChatGPT should be shut down completely for that. It is too dangerous, the things that they're doing out there. We'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in here on the Andrew Gosser Show. See you next time.